Okay, so we're going to continue in this video here to look at some more examples of adding or subtracting algebraic fractions that don't start out with a common denominator. So here we have the problem 6 over x minus 2 plus 7. So we can think of that 7 as being 7 over 1 to make it a fraction. So we begin by finding our common denominator, which is fairly straightforward in this problem because we have just the one denominator. Again, I'm going to write my fractions vertically. That way I can kind of see a little better what I need to have, what extra I need it to include for my common denominator. And then that way I can work out my new numerators. So in the first case, it's fairly straightforward. You already have the common denominator, no big deal. In the second one, it was 7 over 1, so we needed to include an x minus 2 in the bottom. So we have to multiply the top by x minus 2 as well. Once we have our common denominator, we can kind of forget about the denominators for a moment and just focus on the numerators. So we have 6 plus 7 times x minus 2, okay, which we can then simplify, distribute the 7 through. We have 6 plus 7x minus 14, and then finally 7x stays the same, but 6 and a negative 14 would be minus 8. So we get 7x minus 8. And then we can write that amount now over our common denominator. The last thing you would do, which you'll find won't happen very often with these problems, when you start out and you don't have a common denominator to begin with, is you'd look to see if there's anything that can cancel out. In this case, the numerator we can't even factor at all. And the denominator is already factored, so we have our result and we're good there. Okay, moving on to our next example. This one's a bit more involved. We have two denominators there that can be broken down. And again, we always want to make sure to do that, because if not, it's very important that we find that common denominator, and we need to do that by making sure our denominators are factored. So we begin with the x squared minus 36. We can pull out and say, well, that's a difference of squares. That would be x plus 6 and x minus 6. And then we can move to our second denominator, the x squared minus 12x plus 36. We need things that multiply to be 36 and add to be negative 12. And that would be a minus 6 and another minus 6. Okay. So then we begin to try to figure out our common denominator. So looking here, the first one, we need an x plus 6 and an x minus 6. You must have those two things to take care of that one. And for the second one, we need an x minus 6 not once, but actually twice. Okay? So we want to find our LCM or LCD, whichever you want to call it. And so we need an x plus 6 and an x minus 6. That'll take care of the first fraction over here. Right, that'll take care of that guy right there. But then we need to have an x minus 6 and an x minus 6. We already have one there, but we need to have our second one as well. Okay, so we put it all together, and we have our LCM. Okay. Once we have our LCM, we can then build our fractions. So just taking and rewriting everything down vertically there. Okay. And then we go through with each piece. So for the first one, we have an x over x plus 6, x minus 6. So we need an x plus 6 in addition to what we already have. So write down our common denominator. And again, we can kind of look to see what extra did we have to get. In this case, we had to get an x minus 6. So in the numerator, we can put up that x minus 6. And then we can go to our second fraction. And again, we look to see what additional stuff did we have there. Well, we had an x minus 6 and an x minus 6. So what we need in addition now is the x plus 6. We put that on the top. And now we can take our numerators, x minus 6, and 1 times x plus 6, put them together. The problem was originally subtraction, so we subtract them. And we can simplify, we can distribute. The first part we distribute through, you get x squared minus 6x. And then in the second part, the minus 1 distributes through, makes that minus x minus 6. And then we can combine like terms. X squared minus 6x minus 6x will be x squared minus 7x, and then minus 6. And then finally, we can put it all together. Take our final answer, our numerator, x squared minus 7x minus 6, and we write that over our denominator. Now you always do want to check to see if you can factor. It turns out that numerator actually will not factor. And so nothing cancels out, so that is our final answer.